Thank you. Thanks, honey, for those tremendous remarks, very gracious and kind remarks, and for your love and for your support for all these years. After serving 8 years as Minnesota's governor, I was very much looking forward to life with Mary and our 2 daughters in the Midwestern home that we love. But with Mary's encouragement and wise counsel, we came to a different conclusion. And that's what brings me here today with this announcement. I'm Tim Pawlenty, and I'm running for President of the United States. We live in the greatest country the world has ever known. But as we all know, America's in big trouble. And it won't get fixed if we keep going down the same path. If we want a new and better direction, we're going to need a new and better president. President Obama's policies have failed. But more than that, he won't even tell us the truth about what it's really going to take to get out of this mess that we're in. Now, I could stand here and tell you that we can solve America's debt crisis and fix our economy without making any tough choices. But we've heard those kinds of empty promises before and for the last 3 years, and we know where that's gotten us. Fluffy promises of hope and change. They don't buy our groceries, make our mortgage payments, put gas in our car, or pay for our children's school clothes or other needs. So in my campaign, I'm going to take a different approach. I'm going to tell you the truth. And the truth is, Washington, D.C. is broken. Our country's going broke, and the pain of the recent recession will pale in comparison to what's coming if we don't get spending in Washington, D.C. under control. President Obama doesn't have an economic plan. President Obama doesn't have an economic plan. He just has a campaign plan. And the United States of America deserves much, much better. President Obama promised that spending $800 billion on a pork-filled stimulus bill would keep unemployment under 8%. He promised that bailouts for well-connected businesses were a good deal for the country. He promised that a federal takeover of health care would keep costs under control. And as hard as it is to believe, he even promised that he would cut the deficit in half during his first term as president. But the truth is, since President Obama took office, the massive numbers of spending decisions that he's made, the debt has gone through the roof, Americans can't find jobs, and we're $4 trillion deeper in debt. And his health care plan is an unmitigated disaster for our country. We've tried President Obama's way, and his way has failed. 3 years into his term, we're no longer just running out of money. We're running out of time. It's time for new leadership. It's time for a new approach. And it's time for America's president and anyone who wants to be president to look you in the eye and tell you the truth. So here it is. Government money isn't free. You and I either pay for it in taxes or our children pay for it in debt. The reforms we need are not in the billions. They're in the trillions of dollars. And the cuts we need to make, the cuts we must make, can't just be to somebody else's programs. The changes history is calling on America today to make can't be shouldered by people richer than us or poorer than us, but by us too. Politicians are often afraid that if they're too honest, they may lose an election. I'm afraid that in 2012, if we're not honest enough, we may lose our country. If we want to grow our economy, we need to shrink our government. If we want to create jobs, We need to encourage job creators. If we want our children to be free to pursue their dreams, we can't shackle them with our debts. This is the time for the truth. That's why later this week, I'm going to New York City. And I'm going to tell Wall Street that if I'm elected, the era of bailouts, handouts, carve-outs are over. No more subsidies, no more special treatment, no more Fannie and Freddie, no more TARP, and no more too big to fail. Success in our economy once again must be determined by the ingenuity of competing businesses and the judgment of the marketplace, period. But there's more. Tomorrow I'm also going to Florida to tell both young people and seniors the truth about our entitlement programs. They're on an unsustainable path, and that inaction is no longer an option. Our national debt, combined with Obamacare, have placed Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid in real peril. I'm going to tell young people the truth that over time, and for them only, we're going to have to gradually raise the Social Security retirement age. And I'm also going to tell the truth to wealthy seniors, that we're going to have to means test Social Security's annual cost of living adjustment. Medicare must also be reformed. We're going to do it with pay for performance incentives that reward good doctors and wise consumers. And we need to block grant Medicaid to the states. Their innovative ideas and approaches closest to the patients are not only going to solve problems, they're going to save money. And this week I'll also be in Washington, D.C. In Washington, D.C., I'm going to remind the federal bureaucrats that government exists to serve its citizens, not its employees. And the truth is, people getting paid by the taxpayers shouldn't get a better deal than the taxpayers themselves. That means freezing federal salaries, transitioning federal employee benefits, and downsizing the federal workforce as it retires. It means paying public employees for results, not just seniority, and it means from the Capitol to the classroom and everywhere in between, we're going to make public employees more accountable and their pay and benefits more in line with the rest of the taxpayers in this country. And in the private sector, it means no card check, not now and not ever. And it means no more taxpayer bailouts just because you made big campaign contributions to politicians or just because you made a lot of money and give it away to people who are special interests who are trying to influence our government. We also need to make sure that the National Labor Relations Board understands that never again will an American company be told where they can and can't do business. I'm here today to tell Iowans the truth, too. America is facing a crushing debt crisis, the likes of which we've never seen before. We need to cut spending, and we need to cut it big time. The hard truth is there are no longer any sacred programs. The truth about federal energy subsidies, including federal subsidies for ethanol, is that they have to be phased out. We need to do it gradually, we need to do it fairly, but we need to do it. Now, I'm not some out-of-touch politician from some other part of the country. I served 2 terms as governor as an agricultural state. I fully understand and respect the critical role farming plays in our economy and our society. I've strongly supported ethanol in various ways over the years, and I still believe in the promise of renewable fuels, both for our economy and for our national security. But even in Minnesota, when we face fiscal challenges, we reduced ethanol subsidies. That's where we are now in Washington, but on a much, much larger scale. It's not only ethanol. We need to change our approach to subsidies in all industries, It can't be done overnight. The industry has made large investments, and it wouldn't be fair to pull the rug out from under them immediately. But we must face the truth that if we want to invite more competition, more investment, and more innovation into industry, we need to get the government out. We also need to get the government out of the business of handing out special favors and special deals. The free market, not freebies from politicians, should decide a company's success. So as part of a larger reform, we need to phase out all subsidies across all sources of energy and all industries, including ethanol. We simply can't afford them anymore. Now, some people are going to be upset about what I'm saying. Conventional wisdom says you can't talk about ethanol in Iowa or Social Security in Florida or financial reform on Wall Street. But someone has to say it. Someone has to finally stand up and level with the American people. Someone has to lead. I will. When times get tough, there's a temptation among many people to try to turn Americans against one another. Some try to fan the flames of envy and resentment as a way to deflect attention from their own responsibilities, and we particularly see this from politicians. But that's not good enough anymore. Our problems demand, and our children deserve much more from us this time. No president deserves to win an election by dividing the American people, picking winners and losers, protecting his own party's spending and cutting only the other guy's programs, pitting classes and ethnicities and generations against each other. The truth is, we're all in this together. So we need to work together to get out of this mess. I'll unite our party and I'll unite our nation, because to solve a $14 trillion problem, we're going to need 300 million people. Leadership in a time of crisis isn't about telling people what you think they want to hear. It's about telling the truth. President Barack Obama refuses to do that. He has a simple and cynical plan: pretend there's no crisis and then attack those of us who are willing to stand up and try to solve it. In Washington, they may call that smart politics. But I'm not from Washington. I grew up in Minnesota. I grew up in the hard-working, blue-collar town of South St. Paul. When I was 16 years old, my mom passed away of ovarian cancer. A while later, my dad lost his job for a while. In a situation like that, you see some things and you learn some things. At a young age, I learned the value of leaning into my faith in God in challenging times and in all times. I saw the value of a loving family that rallied around each other in times of crisis. I learned the value of hard work and the responsibility for doing my part. I learned that education was a ticket to opportunity. And I learned the value of a job and a paycheck. I had a chance to work in a grocery store for about 7 years. I was a union member. I was proud to earn some money to help pay for school costs and to help make ends meet. The values I learned are America's values. I know the American dream because I've lived it. I'm running for president to keep that dream alive. The first step toward restoring America's promise is to elect a president who keeps his promises to America. How do I know that conservative values and principles can rescue our economy and reform our government? Because in Minnesota, for the last 8 years, they already have. I love my state, but let's face it, it's one of the most liberal states in the country. Minnesota's big government legacy presented me with the same types of problems Barack Obama found in the nation's capital. But my approach and my results were very different. When I became governor, Minnesota's 2-year budget had been increasing for an average of 21% every 2 years for over 40 years. During my 8 years as governor, that changed dramatically. I passed a budget that actually reduced state spending in real terms for the first time in 150 years in my state. For decades before I got elected, governors tried to get Minnesota out of the top 10 highest states in taxes. That was their goal. I actually did it. Minnesota also faced health care costs that were spiraling out of control. Does that sound familiar? I know how to do health care reform right. I've done it at the state level. No mandates, no takeovers, and it's the opposite of Obamacare. I took on the public employee unions before it was popular to do it. For example, our government bus drivers had benefits similar to those that are breaking budgets in California, Illinois, and all over Europe. I wanted to bring those benefits in line. The union refused and went on strike. It became one of the longest strikes in the history of the country, transit strikes. People picketed my house, the media trashed me, and the buses didn't move. But neither did we. And on the 45th day of the strike, the union came back to the table, and the taxpayers won. Today, we have a transit system that gives commuters a ride without taking the taxpayers for a ride. I stood up to the teachers' unions and established one of the first statewide systems for performance pay for teachers in the country, and I appointed new conservative justices to the Supreme Court. They understand that judges are supposed to rule according to the law, not the preferences of their party. And you know something about that here in Iowa. In Minnesota and Washington, the issues were the same. Taxes, spending, health care, unions, and the courts. But in Washington, Barack Obama has consistently stood for higher taxes, more spending, more government, more powerful special interests, and for less individual freedom. In Minnesota, I cut taxes, cut spending, instituted health care choice and performance pay for teachers, reformed union benefits, and appointed constitutional conservatives to the Supreme Court. That's how you lead a liberal state in a conservative direction. The problems we face as a nation are severe. But if we could move Minnesota in a common-sense conservative direction, we can do it anywhere, even in Washington, D.C. But it's not going to be easy. But it's not supposed to be. This is America. We don't do easy. Valley Forge wasn't easy. Normandy wasn't easy. Winning the Cold War wasn't easy. If prosperity were easy, everyone around the world would be prosperous. And if security were easy, everyone around the world would be secure. If freedom were easy, everyone would be free. They're not. But Americans are, because our founding fathers and generations before us chose to be and insisted, sacrificed, and risked everything so that we could be. That's their legacy. And now it's our challenge. We're up for it. In 2008, President Obama told us he would change America, and he has. In 2012, we'll change America again, and this time, it'll be for the better. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Thanks for coming today. I appreciate it.